Welcome back to What's Hot in Digital. Today is the third part of our Andromeda series where we are going to be talking about what businesses can do right now and how to optimize once you are running in this newer campaign structure. I'm joined by Thom. Again, he's going to be filling us in on what's working. Hi, Hi, Thom. Oh, that was so awkward. All right, Thom, so what is working in Andromeda from what your tests are looking like?
The biggest change is that in the biggest account that I currently manage, where we're spending anywhere from 60 to 80 grand a month on Meta, is I've completely removed all of my remarketing campaigns. We're only running top of the funnel on completely broad audience, Advantage plus campaign setups. And we've started to roll out the more Andromeda style creative strategy for it. It is a much slower process for this brand because they have much stricter brand guidelines when it comes to advertising. But already we've seen a massive drop month on month for our new customer acquisition cost. Typically for this brand where we advertise in Australia, England, and the United States, our new customer acquisition cost sits around anywhere from $180 to $250. And this month it's already dropped down to $80, which is more than a 59% drop month on month.
That's so good. And so I guess when we're talking about the change, the biggest change in terms of campaign structure, previously the way we'd structure campaigns would be to force people through a funnel. So basically you would have campaigns set up so it would be top of funnel, excluding basically anybody who's engaged with your business in any way. So you're getting rid of people who have been to your website, you're getting rid of people who have engaged with your social pages. So that way you know you're reaching net new people. Then you're remarketing to people that are, they might have been to your website, they might have watched a video or whatever. That's sort of your middle of funnel content. And then you're then targeting people who have added to cart in the last 40 days, you're running DPAs or whatever, to make sure that you're getting people right at the bottom of the funnel with offers and stuff like that. The new structure, what we're talking about, is one single campaign where you're importing all of these creatives into the campaign and allowing Meta to then show the ads at the right time in the right sequence to get people from top of funnel to bottom of funnel.
Precisely. And I think the biggest change, again, with all of that is how we optimize for it. Is we're not optimizing at an ad level anymore. We're optimizing at a campaign level. If our campaign is getting a incredibly cheap cost per result, if it is for lead generation or optimizing for sales, that's when we're not going to start looking at the ad level and saying, well, this one has a really high one, this one's really low, I want more money go to this. If we're using a single campaign structure, we're looking at the relationship between those two ads. Clearly, one is going out to more people as the top of the funnel option. So when people are having that second, third, or fourth touch point, they're getting the one with the lower CPA and is getting those higher returns. So when we're looking at the campaign level, we're seeing how those are working in a symbiotic way.
And so then that really shifts the whole way of optimizing compared to what we do, because it used to be, all right, let's see what's currently achieving our target, what's not, turn off what's not, let's add some more ads in to try and achieve that target. And so basically all you're doing is optimizing for that ad that is being attributed to the sale. What we're saying now is that every single ad should be playing a part in that sale. And so then you need to monitor actually what are spending and contributing to that path.
Absolutely. And it's not just that, it's how you structure your campaigns. If you're doing it by product type, if you're doing it by offer, or just some different avenue of the business. For the brand I was talking about earlier, we break it down by country and then by product type. And the way that has worked for us is it's allowed us to really figure out what works best for each individual product that we are pushing. And it's really allowed us to grow.
It really makes sense too, though. So that way you are able to, I guess, say for us, so if we're thinking about one campaign per objective. So for us, say if we were wanting to promote that, hey, we do Meta ads and focus on Andromeda performance, we would have a campaign based on that, and then we would have ads within that campaign across all the different pillars that we've talked about, specifically for that objective or for that purpose of selling that service. So the same thing you're talking about in an e-commerce site, you're going to be doing the same thing per category for that.
Absolutely.
So you've got a set budget and you're seeing some ads spending a ton. Seeing some ads that are getting attributed a bunch of conversions, but then there's going to be some ads that are sitting in there that are not getting any spent. And what do you do about that? Like, what's the plan for Meta's not favoring these ads? It's not giving it much play in terms of the delivery. What are we going to do about that there?
It's uncomfortable, but it's a one-word answer, is you wait. I've spoken to countless Meta reps. I've spoken to account specialists. Everything I've read and watched online says you wait. The more you try to micromanage the algorithm, the more it's going to fight against you. If you start turning off things because it's getting more spend, it's not performing as well, but this ad's not getting spent, so how do I know it's not the real winner? is you're not listening to the algorithm and you're actively fighting against Andromeda. So what you need to do is wait for its time to shine. Don't turn it off because it's not spending. Turn things off when the campaign level starts to skew in a negative direction. If it is skewing in a negative direction, you can start to look at the ads and see which one specifically has started to decline, because that is where the application will come from. It's at that point you can start to look at an ad and say, this is why it's not working now, because at a campaign level, it is trending downwards instead of upwards or maintaining constant stability.
Okay, so Meta's found that has tested enough, it's been contributing to the funnel, or it hasn't contributed enough to the funnel, so it's going to spend less on that ad. So if you're looking on a week-by-week spending or day-by-day, depending on how much you're spending, if you're tracking the spend on these ads, that's where you're able to start looking at some optimizations.
Absolutely. And as your ads grow and your ad accounts grow and your data grows, it's potentially time that ad didn't have its time to shine, and it might come up in the coming weeks or months. We've had ads on this account where we're spending tens of thousands of dollars each month where an ad hasn't gotten anything, and then out of the blue, it's become our top performer because we didn't touch it.
But could it also be that it's just a shit ad, and that Meta's like, this ad is just not very good, and there's no point in showing this. It's not going to contribute any value to this purchase process. And then could we then go, all right, well, it's got no spend over a certain amount of period. Maybe let's just try some different iterations of that ad to see if it can spend in that message order or hook.
Yes, 100%. And I mean, there's a million ways you could argue this and go around it and use the same strategy and apply it in tens of different ways. But you can 100% reiterate on that image. And when it comes to the point where you hit your ad limit within an ad set and a campaign, you're going to have to duplicate everything out to make an additional campaign so that you can continue to test and iterate on everything. If it's not working after a certain amount of time, stop trying. Try something new. You don't have to keep throwing the same thing against the wall and hoping it works. Is the same argument is that you don't have to constantly tweak things to try and make it work for you. Is you just adjust as the account moves on.
So there's obviously a lot that needs to happen for businesses right now. Like we're already seeing by making these changes within ad accounts, we're seeing significant performance improvements. So for the businesses out there that are like, well, I don't have currently the ability to pay for a content shoot or to pay for UGC people to come and create a whole bunch of shit for me, or I don't have a design team that's able to create a whole bunch of new ads for me, what would you suggest would be the first point that they could start doing to start at least moving in the direction that they need to be moving, especially for e-commerce coming into the most important part of the year? What can they be doing right now to help with their performance?
They can start to use free and cheap resources. For example, Canva is an incredibly cheap resource that anyone can download, and you can get hundreds of thousands of free templates that you can utilize across all of your organic and paid platforms. When it comes to how to understand to use these tools, YouTube is a fantastic resource as well as podcasts. It's how people can educate them to get to a point where they can start to afford to do more content shoots, to tailor UGC content strategies around their product and their platform. It's not trying to take these huge leaps forwards. It's doing what you can do within your capacity right now to get you in the right direction. It's taking baby steps before you start sprinting.
Okay, so I guess another strategy that people can be doing is looking at the current structure that they're currently running and building out a new campaign. Set it up in the format that we've talked about, a single campaign per objective, and go through your ads library. Look at what's currently working. Look at ads that potentially haven't worked or you've turned off in the past, but are still relevant, and even ones that you've just thought, they're fatigued in the past. Grab those assets, do an audit of everything that you've got set up there, and then put them into a single campaign. See how that performance goes against what you're currently running, because we've done this for a client who didn't have the ability to quickly do a change, but they wanted to make a change within their ad account. And we're already seeing some great performance out of that. So I think that in the meantime, before going on this creative path of creating a whole bunch of new creatives, look at what you already have. I mean, you might have some stuff that you can just throw in there and start getting results straight away. As long as people are paying attention and not ignoring this and making changes, and even if it's not drastic changes within the ad accounts, but making these changes and understanding that the creative is what's going to drive your performance, not the manual changes that you're making within your campaigns and settings. That's what you need to be working towards. So this has been the third part of our Andromeda series. We're so excited by the updates that are happening. Thom is continually testing, and the team are working on different strategies within this framework that we're doing to try and get the most performance out of it. And we're going to be continually updating, creating content around this to make sure that anything that we're learning, we're passing on, because we understand that can be a really stressful time when Meta completely changes what's going on within your ad accounts. Have you got anything else you'd like to leave off with?
Just start small. Don't overcomplicate it. And if it comes to creative testing, try your best and focus on what works.
Perfect. All right.
you for
That's
having
what
me.
we've been doing. So we'll be back again soon. Thanks for watching.